with a guild battery. Hi, so this is just going to be a quick video. There's a lot of people saying online that these Worx 20 volt batteries and tools are actually compatible with batteries and tools chargers from a load of other companies as well, mostly own brand, namely Guild, Erbauer, Titan, JCB, basically the own brand tools from Argos, Screwfix, and maybe another few places as well. When you first hear this, it kind of sounds a bit too good to be true. Basically saying that you could buy a Worx drill with batteries and chargers and then use those batteries and chargers with something like this, which is the Guild one. So I thought I'd test it out. I've got a couple of batteries here. It's the Worx one, obviously. It's the JCB. And here's the Guild. Just looking at these, you can actually see, especially from the top, they are really, really similar, especially these two. Get this to focus. There we go. And then I compare that to the Worx. They are almost identical. The terminal layout is basically identical. The release mechanism is the same. The design is really, really similar. It's pretty clear these come out of the same factory, made by the same company. If you look at the shape of the label. The JCB one's actually a little bit different. You can see that the terminal layout here is the same though, and the release mechanism is the same, but the actual case of the battery is a little bit different. I think this one has a lot more cells inside because it's a 3 ampere hour battery, so it's probably got twice as many cells as the 1.5. This is a 1.5 and this is a 2 amp hour. So it's probably, I think it would be five lithium cells inside there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the same in the Guild. The JCB's probably got 10, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I haven't actually taken them apart to have a look. So I've got a couple of tools here just to test this out. There's the Guild drill, and there's the Worx, and this is an Erbauer brushless impact driver. Again, if you look at the bottom of these, they're all the same. It's pretty obvious at this point that they are going to work, the batteries are going to fit. Some people might be wondering if there's some kind of chip. So there's a chip that detects exactly what type of batteries to connected. As you can see, it's a Guild drill, Guild battery. Works fine. Worx battery. Works fine as well. And the JCB battery is actually a little bit harder to get on because the belt clip here is in the way, but you could always remove that. bend it slightly. Okay. So that's working as well. Just to prove it, it's the Erbauer impact driver JCB battery. Worx battery. Guild battery. And finally the Worx with a Guild battery. And the JCB battery. This has got the same problem as the Guild drill, the battery, sorry, the belt clip. It's getting in the way a little bit. You could remove it if you're having this problem. It does fit on. So I thought I'd just show you the same applies to the chargers as well. This is a Worx charger, came with a Worx drill. And it's a 2 amp charger. So that'd be about an hour to charge this 2 ampere hour battery up, which isn't bad. This is a really horrible charger. That's actually came free with a Guild drill. It's just really low powered. It's one of these wall adapter type ones. You can see on there the charge current's only 400 milliamps. So that's going to be over 4 hours to fully charge one of these batteries. So it's really only useful as a backup charger. But fortunately, these chargers and batteries are all compatible with each other, so we don't have to worry about that. I'll just plug these in to demonstrate. The Worx charger, Guild battery, and you can see that's charging up. It's charging fine. I'm not going to show with the Worx battery because obviously that's going to work. That's a JCB battery. I'm sorry, this is so blurry. There we go. That works fine as well. And here's a really slow charger. And there's a little green light in there. So that's charging up. Yeah, the Guild charger with a Worx battery. Always works fine as well. So if this is the first time you've heard about this, it might be leaving you with more questions than I'm actually answering. The first question is, you might have noticed the Worx and actually the JCB battery as well. If you have a look at the label, these are all labelled as 20 volt batteries. Try and get them in the frame. Okay, it's a Guild and also the Erbauer and the Titan. These are supposedly 18 volt system. So the question is, are you going to blow up your tools by putting 20 volt batteries in 18 volt tools? Are you going to blow up the 18 volt battery by putting it on the 20 volt charger? The answer is no. These batteries are all the same. The 20 volt, 18 volt, just a different way of measuring the voltage. 18 volts is basically the voltage you're going to get out of this, or out of any of these when they're in use. So 20 volt max is the peak voltage when it first comes off the charger. But with lithium batteries, basically as soon as you start using them, they drop down to 18 volts. Just explain that in a bit more detail. It's going to be a bit difficult to do this in front of the camera. So we said earlier that the 18 volt or 20 volt batteries are actually made up of 5 cells in series, 5 lithium cells. So that's, just check you can see this here. So 5 times 3.6 volts. I really should write a bit bigger, shouldn't I? Let's try again. So 5 times 3.6 volts is 18 volts. So you've basically got inside the tool battery, you've got some lithium cells. It's sort of like standard AA batteries. There's different size, different chemistry inside. Laid out like that, and then that's the all inside the tool battery. Let's just pretend that's the plus and the minus on the battery. And the way these will be wired up, so it's each cell inside, it's got positive and the negative terminal. Just put them back to back like this. So it'd be a wire going to the negative. It's obviously protection circuits and stuff inside these as well. So lithium batteries are quite powerful. You don't want to short one out, so they are protected. Generally, I'd hope these ones are protected. So each of these is 3.6 volts. And you can see, starting from the negative, you've got 3.6, 7.2, 10.8, 14.4, and 18 volts. Let's just add together the voltages of the batteries, of the cells, when they're wired in series like this, and you get the overall voltage of the battery. So that'll be 18 volts across there. And obviously to get 20 volts, the fully charged, typically the charge voltage for a lithium cell is about 4.2 volts. But as soon as you take it off the charger, it'll probably drop down to about 4 volts. And that makes 20 volts. So that's how they got 20 volts. Either way, it's the same battery with the same 3.6 volt cells inside. And the 18 volts is actually the more accurate way to name one of these batteries. The reason for that is if I draw a rough graph, this is going to hopefully not look too bad. So if we do it for the whole battery, so let's say 10 volts, 20 volts, 10 volts, 0 volts, 18 volts, a bit about there. So this is the voltage. and this is the state of charge. Let's call it state of discharge. Let's just call it charge, it'll be easier. So this is 100% charged, and this is when the battery is 50% drained, and let's just say that's when it's empty. So you might imagine, and this is the case for some types of batteries, not lithium, but for some batteries, fully charged you get the full voltage, say 20 volts, and empty you get 0 volts, and you'd get a perfectly straight line in between. And that wouldn't be much good for power tools, because say you had that with a drill, you'd start off with a drill turning very fast, and then it would get slower and slower and slower and slower as the battery drained. So by the time you're down to about 25% charged, the drill would be going at 25% of its top speed. Fortunately for lithium batteries, the curve actually goes a bit more like this. So there's a quick drop down to about 18 volts. And then it's pretty much constant until just before the battery starts to go flat, and then you get a very sudden drop off. So that's the reason why these really should be labelled as 18 volt tools. It's because the vast majority of the time that you're using them, so for all that time there, it's basically an 18 volt tool, and only at the very start, when it's just come off the charger, is it going to be above 18 volts. And as I said, these three batteries are the same. They've got the same type of cells inside. So the 18-20 volt thing is just literally a different name for the same type of battery. So the other question you might have is, why are these batteries and tools all compatible with each other? If you look at where they're made, they're all made in China. There's a postcode on these, and this one actually says Positec Power Tools Europe, RG14 9LT. That's actually the biggest clue. These are all made by Positec, and Worx, I believe, is Positec's own brand. So that's really the one they want you to buy. That's probably why it's labelled 20 volts. So when you see this in the shop, and you get to choose either 18 volts or 20 volts. If you don't know that these are the same, you might end up choosing the 20 volt one, thinking that it's going to be more powerful. These postcodes, they're obviously not where the batteries are made. I believe MK92NW is the postcode of Argos in the UK, and these are sold through Argos. These guild tools, you can't really buy them anywhere else. You used to be able to buy them from Homebase, which is like one of our DIY stores. But that was back when Homebase was owned by Argos. JCB, I think these are only sold through B&Q, which is another DIY store in the UK. So basically what's happening here is Positec makes all these tools and all these batteries, both for their own brand, for the Worx brand, but also for things like Erbauer, Guild, JCB, which are the own brands for DIY stores, and Argos in the UK. And I guess to save money, they just decided to use the same batteries, chargers, These might even be the same tools, so you can buy, for example, you can buy a Worx brushless impact driver. I don't have it, but I believe you can buy one, and it's very likely that it will share an awful lot of similarities with this Erbauer brushless impact driver. And obviously there's a possibility, Erbauer is one of the sort of like entry-level trade brands for screw fix. So because it's trade, there is a possibility that it might have, a more powerful motor or better hammer setup in the impact driver if it's been designed to last longer, but there's definitely going to be some similarities. Worx and Guild are more aimed at DIY users. I haven't really taken any of them apart, so I'm not sure how similar or different they are inside. Obviously I don't have, if I had the standard 18 volt drill from all these brands, it would be easier to compare. But unfortunately I don't. I've only got these tools which are all different from each other anyway. The other question that you might have is, are these any good? This might suddenly seem like a really good deal, being able to buy these tools. These tools are cheap anyway. This drill was only 40 quid with the battery and charger. And that's pretty cheap in the UK. Like, you didn't used to be able to buy decent power tools for anything like that. You have to spend at least probably 70 quid to get something decent. And this Guild drill was 35 quid with a battery and the useless slow charger. And the Erbauer impact driver, I think these normally go for about 70 quid, but Screwfix had a deal of the day thing going on, and I think that was only about 30 quid or 40 quid as well. No battery or charger with that one though. Not that that's a problem, as we found out. So for the money, these are actually pretty good. I wouldn't recommend them if you're a trade user. Go for something like Makita, DeWalt, Bosch Professional, the blue Bosch tools. They tend to be a lot better built. Not that these are badly built. The build quality is fine, but you can just tell when you feel the Bosch. I've got the Bosch ones myself, and they're a lot better. They're also a lot more powerful. So, for example, the torque of this drill. This one does 30 Newton meters max, and that's in first gear. Oh dear, this camera's being useless. Okay. Yeah, so this one can output about 30 Newton meters, 1450 RPM. I believe the Bosch one does over 2000 RPM, and it does 60 Newton meters, so it's twice as much torque. This Worx drill has only got one gear. It's got the AI assist, which is quite cool, but for a trade user you just want more power. You don't need to worry about, if you're driving in screws every day, you're going to be able to do it without stripping the heads, which is what this safe drive thing is supposed to help with. If you're a trade user, you're not going to need that. But for DIY, these are fine. If you're just putting up a couple of shelves, maybe doing some decking or something a couple of times a year, these are pretty good tools. I'd recommend them. Well built, pretty well built. I don't know what type of plastic this is. It doesn't actually say what the main body's made out of. I'd have to take it apart for that. Not that I'd be able to tell you anything about that anyway. But they feel alright. They work fine. I've used this. This is the first tool I got in this whole collection, and I used it for ages before I got the Bosch ones, and there's been no problems at all. So I hope that was helpful. As I said earlier at the start of the video, There are some other brands I think this applies to as well. So one of them is Titan, which is it's like Erbauer, it's from Screwfix, but it's a cheaper version. I think there's an American brand called Rockwell that this might apply to. I might be wrong about that. What I'll try and do, I'll try and look this up after and put all the brands in the video description. Basically, all we've got to do is look at the batteries, and if the terminal layout looks like this and the mounting looks like that, then I'm pretty sure it's going to work. As you can see on the tools, it's even easier comparing the bases of the tools. Oops. Yeah, you can see the terminal layout is exactly the same. So that's a giveaway, really.